If you're launching a product, there's a framework that I like to use every single time.
They did around $2 million in 7 days and they sold out of their inventory entirely, or they would have done a lot more.
If you're promoting on Instagram, only 10 to 15% of your audience is going to see your content.
You need to seed top affiliates in advance.
Most people think that you shouldn't promote your product as much as you should.
People were still making content with the product after it sold out.
You don't want to dilute your content and your brand engagement by not having content specific to that demographic if your demographic is that wide.
Everyone should think about their media strategy and their content strategy in this way.
All right, we're back. Another episode of Sweat Equity. Changing up the lighting again. It's completely different setting.
I'm blind. This is crazy out of Cade. It's like he's trying to test my ability to speak in the camera.
He asked you 5 minutes ago, he said, is this too much? And you said, no. You said, I'm fine.
But he's a new character. We got to put him through, the ringer a little bit.
I'm just saying, he asked for feedback specifically.
I as long as I look straight. I mean, I haven't, good. Obviously, I always look.
Yeah.
We're going to move on. So what do you got today?
So I have a few things. So the first thing I have is a framework for launching a new product. There's a company called Puresport. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. And they nailed this framework to perfection, from gamification with social to now how they're pushing the campaign. That's the first part. And then it's a quick-ish segment. The second thing I'm going to talk about is brands having multiple different Instagram accounts for different goals. Yeah. And like the strategy kind of behind that, and if it's worth doing it. Like, it's not for everybody, but it's for certain brands and then for specific goals. What about you?
I am going to go over pretty similar, not similar, but Liquid IV had a really successful product launch on TikTok Shop exclusively last week. Really impressive. They did around $2 million in 7 days, and they sold out of their inventory entirely, or they would have done a lot more. And it's a masterclass in sort of engineering viral word of mouth, where you're able to get everyone on a certain platform talking about you. Yeah. And it might have felt to some as though like this just happened, it's seasonal, but it was actually like a very tactical strategy, and they have 5 components that we're going to go over each one.
Nice.
That even if you're a smaller brand, you can do the same thing and really get, because I get so many DMs. People are asking me, how do I get all these influencers to post about me? Well, you need to execute a cohesive strategy for them to want to even post with you. What? You
getting that many DMs now?
The calendar is full, bro.
At 1,000 followers, how many DMs are racking up?
Blowing up. No, I'm kidding. I mean, honestly, like...
But you have gotten some crazy DMs from CEOs of, I think, a public company.
Yeah, public company, biggest creators in the world. But, I mean, it's more so like...
What do you mean, biggest creator in the world? Who hit you up?
Huh?
Who hit you up? That's the biggest creator in the world.
I said one of the biggest creators in the world. Huh?
Who?
Boys from FaZe Clan.
Oh, you told me that, yeah.
Yeah.
Do we need to beep that out?
Honestly, dude from FaZe, you wasted my fucking time. I'm kidding. He was cool. But no, I mean, like, I will say PSA, like, don't just book time on someone's calendar. Yeah. Like that's crazy. Like the amount of people that have just kind of wasted 25 minutes with zero intention of like people book time on your calendar to just get free game. And I'm like, if you want free game, listen to the Sweat Equity podcast on YouTube every Tuesday.
You got to keep going.
What do you want me to say? That was it. All right, fine. Let's get into...
Well, one thing I want to touch on that I think that you're figuring out now is like the content flywheel of something performs well on Twitter, right? That had 700 to 1,000 likes, I think. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, okay, now how can I scale this for a podcast? Right. Versus like having to do net new research and new topics, et cetera. But like, the other thing I think is super interesting is if something performs well on another platform, put it, scale it for whatever other channel that you create on.
For sure. And that it's crazy because actually with dupe.com, that was last week's episode.
Yeah.
And that
you should have waited to push that shit. So you could have pushed to the episode.
Like
you were tripping.
This morning?
Yes.
Like the thread?
Yes. You were tripping. I
was eager, bro. I was sitting there on Sunday. I was about to go furniture shopping and I like pumped out the thread.
Were you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was about to go furniture shopping. Not everything is a thirst trap. I'm not just speaking to my core audience 24/7. But dude, do you go furniture shopping with Vanessa? It's a fun couples activity.
It is.
Yeah.
But here's how I am. So if I see something that I like, I don't continue shopping. I just get it and I bounce. So have you seen the couch that I have at the crib? The big ass, that it's a couch everybody loves and enjoys, right? We walked into, I think it was Rooms to Go. We walk into Rooms to Go.
Damn.
It was the first.
Your broke ass.
That couch was like $4,000.
Oh,
It
shit.
was a $4,000 couch.
Yeah, because it's massive, dude.
It's
they,
massive.
They felt like they had to charge you that.
It was $4,000. So I walk into Rooms to Go. This is before marketing. No, I'm just kidding. I walk into Rooms to Go. That bitch was the first couch on the left.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I was like, all right. Like, I called the guy over. I was like, I want this. He's like, you don't even want to look at the rest of the store? I was like, I'm good. I just want this couch. And then he was like, just look around. And I was like, okay, bro, we sped walked through that bitch and just got that couch.
One of my least favorite things in the world is doing anything to appease the salesperson at a store who's like, they're pressuring you to do some shit. And you're like, bro, I know what I want. It's
I
like
knew
when
what I wanted.
Like when a waiter is like, you got to try this. And you're like, I really don't want it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But other than that, most of my furniture shopping's online. And
Online?
Then, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, the D2C furniture market is like terrible. It's actually like really hard
Like what
to
brands?
run.
Give me brands.
There's just been a few like,
You know, one thing that me and Vanessa passed with fucking flying colors? The IKEA test. You heard this shit?
No, I haven't.
The IKEA test is if you can put together something that you bought from IKEA without wanting to kill each other, then you're meant for each other or something like that.
That's dope, bro. I mean, I'm glad that y'all did that before. Was that before or after the kid?
That was before.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Very
This is that is a classic Sahil Bloom tweet right there. The framework.
fucking shoot, man. Mitchell Gold and Bob Williams, Z Gallery, Noble House. Like, there's a lot of like, there was basically like a cascade of furniture companies that went bankrupt in the last like couple years. Another couple things that were super interesting diving into dupe.com, which was on last week's episode, was 90% of furniture is made at 3 massive manufacturers in China. And all these people are in this just goes to show how ridiculously stupid the average Instagram commenter is on a viral post. All these people were like, you're ruining artisans' lives because you're showing cheaper made stuff. And it's like, you idiot. Like, they're exposing that big brands are actually just marking their shit up 10x using the same product. Like, they're not undercutting anyone that is actually like putting all this time and effort into home crafting something. So yeah, I was like, the average IG commenter is just not, it's not where you want to be.
You should see some of the comments I've been getting lately.
I bet they're talking crazy about you. What do they say?
Some, like, for example, and then we'll dive into it.
Does anyone comment on your light skin face?
No, because
It's
I don't
subtly
make
there.
kind of, but not there yet. And for people that don't know, I got the light skin face, which is what they clown about me, is like anytime we take a photo in a snap, I go into the light skin face, which is a certain pose.
No teeth.
No teeth,
just
soft smile, little wrinkle on the
deep into your
forehead,
soul for some reason.
little
It's
wrinkle
weird.
like this, you know. Anyways, but I've been getting, for example, I made a video yesterday about Solomon Running's content playbook. And so I say, like, this is Solomon Running's $1 billion content playbook. When I say the 1 billion, I'm referring to how much revenue the company does. Like, this company does this much in revenue.
Yeah.
This is their content playbook.
Right.
And somebody's like, you're misleading us. You're saying that they're spending $1 billion on content. I'm like, no. And it was like this like 6 comment like chain, and until like people came by and backed me and shit. And it was just whack. But let's get into the actual episode before we just banter for 45 minutes. We haven't talked in a minute, so like the banter is kind of needed.
Yeah. I mean, let us know in the comments if you like the banter.
There's been mixed emotions on it.
Yeah, some people
are like, dude, just I want 40 whatever minutes of just heat, and you guys could do that. And then some people are like, I like the banter. I like to get to know you guys and your personalities and whatnot. And so it's hit or miss.
All right, talk about Puresport, because I bet there's a lot of parallels with what IV's done.
Yeah. So, do you follow them at all?
No, but I'll look them up.
So yeah, look up Puresport. So they just launched a new electrolyte drink, right? And I think it's called Salty Pace.
God damn.
And
Salty Pace.
yeah, like a lot of people say like Sexy Pace for specific running. I know you don't run. I know you don't log anything in Strava. So
I'm out of
it
that.
is a like term that people use. Now,
Oh, they're British.
yeah, they're in the UK.
Okay, no wonder they're so
They're killers.
tongue-in-cheek.
They're killers. If you're launching a product, there's a framework that I like to use every single time. So it's tease, hype, collect, push, and pull. Looking at how Puresport executed this drop, dude, they nailed it to perfection, right? So you tease the product, then you hype it up via branded campaign, then you direct that traffic to collect email, SMS, then you push and pull 2 times more than you tease and hype. So looking at Puresport, I want to break it down how they and you should go to their Instagram and like kind of scroll maybe 3 weeks down. So it starts with the tease and how they did this. So the first thing is they put out a behind the brand series, or they have like a YouTube channel called Behind the Brand, and they showed the entire campaign as it was getting filmed, which I also think is getting very important for brands. It's like showing the campaign, the ideation behind it, why you're doing it, because you could communicate like everything about the product through that and get people hyped up for it. So like that was part 1. But then you look at the social content. This is part 2. Was okay, how did they tease it? So they teased it 4 times before ever even announcing what the product was. And every post, they played hangman in the caption. So they would put out a reel, and the reel was like, it's you working out, right, Brian? You actually went on a run, you're sweating your ass off, and like it would be like a 1-shot take of you, and it'd be like very focused on your sweat, but it wouldn't say that it's the new electrolyte product. It was just saying that there was a new product release, and then the caption would be like, guess the caption. And so they gamified the engagement, and they literally played hangman, and every day they gave you more clues, which I thought was really good. So they really did a great job of teasing the product launch and like getting people to they essentially created curiosity around it. Like, what is this? Like, what is this product? Why are they focused on sweat? Why are they playing hangman? What is the phrase? And every day it also created the expectation of like, I should come back because I want to know more of I want to know more of the clues to be able to get this. So then hype, right? This is step 2, hype. So how do you build it? You do it through a mix of education, inspirational, and motivational content. Some brands entertaining content, because education, they need to know why this is the product they need, right? Like people, if I'm a runner and I run a ton and I'm training constantly, I need to know why I need this electrolyte drink if I'm not educated about it, right? Like you can't just assume that somebody knows I need to be taking X amount of sodium, potassium, magnesium, whatever. Like you have to educate them on that. So they're like, damn, this is going to help me perform better. Yeah. Right. So Puresport did a really good job of putting really good visuals out and then educating you within the caption. The next is like inspiring, right? Because people need to feel like this is the product that will help them get somewhere they need to be. That's what Nike does a great job of. Nike is just like the thing that gets you to the person that you want to be, right? People that achieve greatness wear Nikes. Puresport did the same thing with their campaign. They highlighted a lot of their top athletes in the campaign and used it to inspire you to be like, you need this product if you want to perform like these guys, or if you even want to get better like these guys are getting better. And I think it's important to motivate people too, like to use we have a conversation with Ladder on Thursday, and they talk about this as like everybody talks about education, inspiration, entertainment. Nobody talks about motivation. You could use motivation as a driving factor to get people to buy a product. So if you look at the last 8 posts that they put out, Puresport did, they really hammer the what and the why behind the product with an emphasis on like educating the consumer about why they need it as an athlete. And they really do a good job of this through a branded campaign, which is the campaign I'm referring to that they shot in Switzerland. Like it was beautiful. And if you look at the visuals, like just stellar, because it also, one thing I think they do well as well, that's a weird sentence to say, is they match the high quality production value with the high price point. And that was one thing I was talking to them about. I was like, if you shot everything on iPhone and you're then pushing out like a $60 to $80 supplement that's kind of higher price point, I don't think it converts as high. But if you're shooting on a red camera or the Black Magics that we have here, like very high quality production, and then it's matched with high quality supplement, it makes sense. All right, part 3, or the third part of the framework, collecting. This means building your email and SMS list, right? And a lot of people fuck up here. Sorry, Mom. I told them I was going to stop cussing.
Damn.
I was going to say I fucked it up. I screwed it up. a lot of people mess up here though. Like a lot of people don't put an emphasis on collecting enough data. They do all the pushing or all the teasing, all the hyping, and then they just drop. And they miss the part of the collecting the data that is so important to everything you do down the road, right? You collect emails, you collect SMS, and you have this list of individuals that are like, I want this. I'm giving you data so that you send me exclusive access to this. And so what's key to what Puresport did was, as they were teasing and hyping and educating the consumer, et cetera, they were pushing people to sign up via email saying, hey, like you're going to have exclusive access. You're going to be the first ones to get this drop. And we're dropping it to you guys beforehand. And then we'll push it to the public and to the people that didn't sign up. And so during this whole 2-week span, they're just collecting data. They're just collecting email addresses. And again, and I think that also creates this, you build off the hype, right? But it also adds in scarcity, because there is a chance that they do sell out before they even make it to the public, or when they make it to the public, the stock is way lower than it would be if you got in on the email list. That's part 3. Part 4 is push and pull. And so pushing sounds obvious, but it's not. Most people think that you shouldn't promote your product as much as you should. And the reality is, if like you're teasing and hyping, you should be pushing and pulling 2 times as much as you are teasing and hyping. And what that means is, dude, promote your work, promote your product. There's a reason people follow you in your brand. It's because you put out good products. Make sure you promote it. And so the reason I think this is important too is because only if you're promoting on Instagram, only 10 to 15% of your audience is going to see your content. Therefore, you have to push, something 5 times or no, like 5 to 10 times before your whole audience, quote unquote, sees that content.
Yeah.
And so then the other idea is that not if you are trying to do a mix of pushing and pulling, right? Pushing is, here's my product. Pulling is telling some kind of story that brings them into the brand to then you weave the product into the story versus only saying, hey, buy this. And obviously you don't say it like that, but it's this idea of pushing and pulling. Pulling is the magnet more so than pushing is, hey, you need to buy this. So just a simple framework and a good example of like, I would pay attention to Puresport, kind of what they're doing in the supplement scene, because I talked to the team yesterday. They do have killers and they're doing a great job on their marketing side. But I really think this is a good framework and a simple framework to follow with a marketing team. Tease the product. But don't say what it is. Make sure your content really teases to the benefits and to what the product is. Then hype it up. Create curiosity, get people excited, make them feel like they need this the second it drops. Then on the back end of all that, leverage that hype to collect data. Then when it's launch time and it's go time and you're pressing all the buttons, push and pull. Push the product, promote the product. Don't be scared to promote the product, and then tell stories and inject the product into that story.
Did they pivot from being a CBD company?
I think they offered CBD as well.
Yeah. I remember seeing these guys a while ago now that...
So I've been a consumer of theirs for probably 2-ish years.
Yeah.
They have a supplement that's like cardiovascular cordyceps.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, dude, I feel like I have another lung when I run with that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty dope. Cordyceps is a mushroom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, super simple site too. I mean, that's another example of like not really doing too much.
Yeah.
Making sure that the site is live with that thing that you've been promoting as well.
Yeah.
Like that's the hero image is, a video of the electrolytes. It's their best sellers, first, like they've highlighted that product quite a bit. It's funny looking at their product listing as well. Are they using capsules? Do you know?
I don't
probably
know.
are for all of their different supplements. It's just that, they're choosing like these best in class. I mean, when you talk to people that make product in the supplement space, stick packs are the dream, because they are ridiculously low cost.
I remember Rob came on and he said the same thing. He was like, if I was the guys at Cadence, like I would launch first with a stick pack before
I've heard this from tons of people, and that's why Ketone is crushing it. That's why Liquid IV is crushing it. That's why that's kind of the emulation is, you get crazy margins.
Yeah.
Capsules are the same way with supplements. Those are effectively, 80% plus margin. So super smart on them to, by investing so much in their organic content strategy versus paid ads, think about how much they were able to achieve a better acquisition cost than had they just kind of been most brands which think, okay, I'll just roll out some Facebook ads
Yeah.
and hope for the best. Now you're actually not eating into that massive margin that you have and playing a game of math. You're just kind of taking winner take all. It's
100%.
like, we made all this product, we sold out of it, we executed for a fixed cost. It's almost like a form of moonshot marketing, like Robert talks about. Like, it's totally could have worked, like the Hangman thing,
Yeah.
or it could have failed. Like
It could have.
the Hangman thing, like, but they were able to build an engaged audience. And
But they do a really good job, and I'll touch on this in a different section or segment. But they've done a really good job building community. They have communities around the different sports that, like the top sports that kind of use their supplements. They have different clubs for each of the sports.
Yeah.
They do a lot of in-person events. So like they do a lot of stuff where those people are bought into the brand. So playing Hangman seems like a good bet.
yeah, it's like they want to engage with you.
Yeah.
You've already built that
Yeah.
brand equity.
Yeah.
That's dope. Super cool. And they also have a pretty solid link in bio. It you know, that profile picture is the electrolytes. It's the first hero image. Like, so, yeah. And then, did you find these guys via Strava? Are you in their Strava?
No, I'm not. But I know of them because 2 years ago I got hit with an ad. And like 2 years ago, before running was hot, you could go back to my IG history. I was on that David Goggins. And I was saying in 2020 that I was gonna run a marathon. I didn't end up doing it.
Yeah.
But I got 12, I think I ran 12, 13 miles, something like that.
Ran-
But I was on
ran
the
a
run.
half.
I was on the early running game before it was hot.
Yeah.
Early adopter here.
That's, if we're not early adopters, we don't deserve this podcast.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. I think the hydration market, like running adjacent products right now are just unbelievable. Like it's such a gold rush.
Yeah.
And especially, you know, in the supplements game. It's interesting you mentioned like cordyceps. Like, the biggest thing with supplements that I like to think is, does it immediately make someone feel something like a drug? And
Like, is it placebo?
yeah, like is it even possible to consider it a placebo? Like, do you have to believe it or not? And I think like
Yeah.
what you just mentioned, the cordyceps thing, expanding lung capacity and
Dude.
hydration. Hydration's the easiest one to notice an impact.
Yeah, yeah.
So at that point, that's such a commoditized market. Like,
100%.
I'm sorry, like I'm sure Puresport, like, tell me your ingredients are the best. I doubt it. I bet they're all the best, and you're just competing on brand at that point, like that you really are. And they knew that, and that's why they did so well here.
I agree, but I will say is like the one supplement that I felt like every time I'm going to, and damn, this is what an ad for Puresport. Every time I took it and I was running, I felt like I was going to hit a PR because I just felt like I had another level. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times when I'm running and I'm like, I hit a certain pace or whatever, I'm like, dude, I'm sucking wind.
Yeah.
But then I would take it and I would, again, go on my run. And I was like, I'm good. I feel like I'm chilling. I have another gear that I could tap into. So they got something with it, bro. Or again, I'm sure there's other cordyceps.
They're just juicing
Mushroom.
your shit.
Yeah, dude, yeah. I'm sure there's other cordyceps, supplements out there that work well.
Yeah.
But because of all the branding and all the shit that they do on the content side, I like them. I
Yeah.
dig them. They're the brand I go to.
For sure. No, I think it's really important to invest in brand and like knowing a customer.
Yeah.
And in these really commoditized markets, like there's a lot of those these days. And I mean, supplements is 1A of that entire conversation.
I mean, you're about to do part B. What
Part
is this
B.
with Liquid IV?
Yeah. Yeah. Liquid IV, which is fascinating because Liquid IV is probably someone that you could argue has gotten so big that they are investing in brand in a way that's like very disingenuous because it's so celebrity and big time influencer driven, which is why what they did with TikTok Shop was actually fascinating because it seems like they're extremely focused on a mainstream appeal and how can we drive top of funnel product awareness at the biggest of big scales, like low intent, massive celebrity campaigns, bringing them all together. And this was actually very grassroots guerrilla focused. Don't know what agency potentially helped them out with this, but they were super, super
It
dialed.
was a nibble.
Nah, we didn't get this bag. But so, 5 steps to a perfect product drop strategy. Number one,
Hit him with that hook, Brian.
you need to seed top affiliates in advance. Like, these people have to have the product, use the product, and what every brand needs to understand is content is a power law game. Like your biggest piece of content is going to drive 80% of the results, and the rest of it just kind of accumulates and trickles in. Your consistency in content is really important as well. And by seeding these top affiliates well in advance, you make sure that there's not like any misalignment in the dates of when things are getting posted. If you have a deadline, today's June 4th. If my deadline was June 10th, I would say all of my creators need to have product and content reviewed by like June 7th so that like we're ready on June 9th to have like the final double check. And a lot of people kind of, you know, don't always use that time frame effectively. The second thing that they did that was like unbelievably smart is the way that they briefed their creators. And I think this is something that's overlooked a lot in influencer marketing. So number 2 is introduce coordinated talking points. So they had a few different things. They had a product drop, they had seasonality, they had a very specific offer, but they also clearly had a talking point to put it in familiar containers. So all the videos that you look at, they're putting it in Stanley. Why is that? Because all of their target customer, which is, you know, they're using Stanleys. And they had a couple of other things that they made sure these influencers talked about. So a little more context. Liquid IV dropped a push pop flavor.
I saw that.
Of their, you know, signature stick pack, hydration pack, right in time for the summer. This is something that happened in mid-May.
Yeah.
So, you know, what does each video contain from these top affiliates? Number 1, it raves about the flavor and the quality of the flavor and the nostalgia. So you'll often see like videos where they're showing a Stanley and they're like, this is my 3rd Stanley that I've drank of this flavor. I can't stop drinking it. They're acting like it's crack. Number 2 is they all, and this is something uniquely you're able to do digitally, and especially on TikTok Shop, is they highlight the cheap cost of the product versus its normal retail price. So it was a platform exclusive discount. Like you weren't able to get this deal anywhere else. Why is that important? Because when you're seeing content on TikTok, typically it feels, you know, it could be current event based, it could be a little bit delayed. People are kind of used to seeing content that was posted like a week ago.
Yeah.
So what's the first thing you're going to do when you see a platform exclusive offer? Go check how long it's been live. And it builds this sense of urgency that I need to take advantage of this right now. So that was the third thing, is they paired the drop with an exclusive offer. It was 20% off plus free shipping only on TikTok Shop. And the craziest part, that once you did a little more digging, this flavor wasn't even highlighted on their normal.com website. So they were talking about all their other stuff, subscribe and save, new look, new hydration, like the rebrand, all sorts of stuff. The push pop flavor wasn't even highlighted on their website.
It's just like in their kind of carousel above the fold, but it's not anything crazy.
Right. Like, yeah. And then a week ago, it wasn't even there. And then the fourth thing is they amplified their top creative with ad dollars. So the advantage of posting all of those affiliate videos is that you get creative testing in the wild. You see what messaging is resonating and converting customers, and you don't have to waste budget on testing out ads that may or may not work. You have these proven pieces of creative, these assets that are going to convert customers.
100%.
So you can just immediately inject budget into them and scale from there. This is something very commonly done on TikTok Shop. Affiliate posts really strong converting video. They provide the ad rights to the brand, and then the brand obviously runs it with ad level targeting. So number 4, ride the wave with ad dollars. And then number 5 is it's really important to sustain a network effect. So one of the really powerful things that was happening on TikTok is people were still making content with the product after it sold out. So they were actually taking the product that they bought, the push pop flavor, and they would make a video saying, yo, I got this flavor. It's the greatest thing of all time. It's sold out, but you need to get this one. And they would tag like a separate flavor, like lemon lime or, you know, one of Liquid IV's normal ones. And so they were leveraging the scarcity of this product, right? It was sold out, but it kind of had this shiny feel to it. It was like a rare item. You know, if you got in, like you were one of the lucky ones. And so there was that cognitive recognition.
It became a flex, dude.
It became a flex. Yeah. Like
there's a lot that happens a lot of times with, oh man, there's a few products that I come to mind and I'm blanking on the brand, but like that happens when like it sells out, it just becomes such a flex that you
even
have to
it.
post it.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of happened a little bit with like Marcus in Minton, New York with his last drop, with the Saucony drop.
Yeah.
It became, and I didn't get it. Like, and I,
Saucony.
is that, how do you say it?
I think so.
No, it's Saucony.
Really?
Did you just say Saucony?
Am I wrong?
You're so wrong. That is crazy.
Oh man.
But it was like,
know.
I even DM'd him. I was like, yo, I'll Venmo you. Like, let me know what I got to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And I couldn't get in. And, but it became a flex, right? Where I'm like salty.
For sure.
I'm seeing people post this shit. I'm like, yo, every time this bitch dropped, like I was there. I was late to therapy. I walked in at therapy at 10:02 because the drop happened at 10 o'clock and I couldn't get in.
Damn, bro.
And then people were flexing though on IG. Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Double
I had something
whammy.
to talk about, bro.
Shit.
I had something to talk about.
That's super tough. Yeah, I think like scarcity as a drop model is nothing new, right? But what was crazy about Liquid IV is that this is not a collectible.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
the
this is like
Saucony
a
drop is a collectible.
Yeah. This is like a very average. And so, running stuff in limited quantities, like definitely make sure to build scarcity into your product drop because first of all, it's such a good way to experiment with flavors.
Yeah.
And, any CPG brand can basically test a flavor with no recourse whatsoever as long as you make a very limited run 100%. Of it.
One thing I'm curious to ask you about is if you're seeding an influencer, how are you giving them, or you're seeding these affiliates beforehand? Are you giving them a brief? Are you giving them a seeding card that says like, hey, like these are the talking points? What are you doing? Yeah,
you need to breathe. You need to give them both, right? You need to seed them with a brief that is not just like, hey, we're Liquid IV and we stand for this. Like these are our brand values. Like you need to give them like hyper tangible formats that you want to see. So a lot of these were honest reviews or very offer driven direct response type of stuff where it's like, instead of saying we're running a sale, it's 20% off, tell the affiliate, highlight that this is cheaper than it is at retail. Give them that really powerful messaging that is going to resonate. Similarly, like a lot of these creators know what to do, but you need to guide them in the form of, it's a seasonal product. This is a seasonal only drop. So talk about feelings of nostalgia, how this is the exact same flavor as that
entire campaign should have been like at a pool.
Yeah.
Like a water park kind of pool.
Instead, it was in a bunch of like mid 40s women's kitchen, but they're killing it. Like I do think, telling them to evoke feelings of nostalgia and like highlight some emotional ties as well is super helpful. But all too often you see a brief that just lists out the products, the features, the benefits. It doesn't go that next step of depth, which is really important. Like it's completely different to say this is 20% off than this is cheaper than it is in retail. Cheaper than retail, I'm in there. Like all of a sudden this offer has urgency. Like it might go away and I got to take advantage of it versus, oh, it's 20% off. Like I can give people my email for that.
Yeah.
That's like a hollow discount. Like
100%.
People are so used to seeing sales, but
everybody offers 10-20% off
right.
as soon as you land on a landing page, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That thing is popping up in less than 15 seconds, 5 seconds, 3 seconds.
And then the method as well, especially with TikTok Shop these days, is it's like inherently you're just getting hit with this video out of nowhere, and so that discovery element of it is pretty impactful, I think, on the messaging side. The fact that it's not an ad, it seems like you were meant to encounter that video. And so I do think that helps customers kind of feel as though they have to buy right then.
I'm curious to see, something's like a flex when you go on eBay and it's getting sold on eBay for like a 5 to 10x markup.
Oh yeah.
There was a time when that happened to Prime. You couldn't buy a Prime bottle and it was like $100 on eBay for one Prime bottle.
100%.
The funny part about that was like somehow John knew somebody at Prime and he didn't know it was all getting marked up. And in his car, he had like 3 packs,
no way.
3, just like 12 packs of the energy drink before it was ever released. And it was like, I told him like, bro, you have like $1,000 worth of product right here just chilling in your car. It's crazy.
That's classic John, or just classic sitting John. On a bag.
Naive. So the last thing I kind of want to touch on, and just been paying attention to this more. And so it's this idea of having multiple Instagram accounts and for different goals, for different demographics. And so the question I start with is, should you or should you not essentially create multiple Instagram accounts? And it's a yes or no answer.
For a brand.
For a brand, yeah. It's basically yes and no. And so let me explain that. So it really breaks down to three things. So and my thing is, you should do it if you're doing one of these four things. Sorry, four things, not three things. The first one is, you have a large customer base spread across different geographic locations. So Salomon Running, I made a video about them yesterday. They have 20 plus different Instagram accounts. They have Salomon Running, they have Salomon Sports Style, they have Salomon Page, and then they have like Salomon Spain, Salomon France, Salomon whatever. Red Bull has this too. Red Bull has like hundreds of pages, right? They have Red Bull Racing, Red Bull UK, Red Bull Bike, Red Bull USA, Red Bull Dance. Like they have so many different things. And the thing is, like, they have such a large customer base where somebody that only likes Red Bull Racing doesn't want to consume Red Bull Bike, right? And the same thing happens with Salomon Running. If like I like Salomon or if I like Salomon, it's not Salomon Running, that's one of the pages. If I like Salomon because of the street style and the streetwear, I don't care about the running. I don't care about the skiing. They start as a skiing company. I don't care about those things. And so you don't want to dilute your content and your brand engagement by not having content specific to that demographic if your demographic is that wide, right? If you have multiple SKUs, etc. The second one is if you have different products for different customer bases. I need to take another sip. Ness got it. Gave it to Zara. Bro, I was wearing a mask at the crib because I'm like, I ain't getting this shit. I felt stupid.
Young Fauci.
So I felt stupid. I was like, if this decreases my chance by 1%, I'm with it. And I felt so dumb. I was like, I would never do this.
Decreased by 0.
I know. But you know, like it was placebo.
The cap of the century.
Yeah. It was, I feel like Kate's going to leave this shit in there too.
Nah, that's the problem with that with a producer like that. He's down to spread some propaganda.
Yeah. So the second is you have to have, if you have different products for different customer bases, I kind of touched on this on the previous one, but like Salomon Running is specific to the runners, the people that love hiking trails and running trails and like doing ultra marathons. You want to only create content for that individual and have an account for that individual. Again, you don't want to dilute the content in the brand by having them seeing skiing content, by having them see biking content, all this different shit. So Raw Nutrition is doing this as well. So Raw Nutrition has like their main page, which is very bodybuilder focused because it was, you know, centered around Chris Bumstead.
Which is why I follow it.
Was because of Chris Bumstead?
No, it's bodybuilding.
Yeah, and you built like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you know.
I like consuming content with my people.
I feel that, you know, 21-inch thighs.
Is that big or small?
Most bodybuilders.
They don't know either.
No, most bodybuilders like aim to have like 21-inch biceps. You got 21-inch thighs.
So I just got absolutely flamed.
Yeah.
All right.
So, but Raw Nutrition, they're trying to, what it looks like is they're trying to get into the endurance space. So if you have Raw Nutrition that, you know, has hundreds of thousands of followers, and you're now trying to break into endurance space, you're essentially like pushing away your current follower base, right? By putting content that's very endurance based on that page. Doesn't mean you can't ever do it. Just means it doesn't want to be like the center of your content strategy.
Yeah.
So what do? You do raw endurance. You build out that page. And so that they started doing that, where now it's completely focused on just endurance athletes and the endurance athletes that are they're promoting, working with, and promoting products for those individuals.
We got to talk about the branding of being a runner versus being an endurance athlete.
Yeah.
Being an endurance athlete sounds hard.
Being a runner?
Yeah, that sounds dope. Being a runner, I mean, like, bro, we all run, dude.
What about if it's a 50-mile race or a 100-mile race? That's that's endurance based.
I think you're an endurance athlete. I think you're an endurance athlete if you're hitting 10Ks.
How many miles is that? 6, 7?
Yeah. I'm team endurance athlete. I fuck with that.
Okay.
But runners, I think, you know, we're all runners.
But the idea there too is, and I'll touch on this at the end, but is if you're creating content for endurance individuals, athletes, that content, like naturally Instagram's going to be able to look at your content, get data and be like, I need to serve these people. And they're going to help you reach more of those people. And that's why like having certain accounts or specific accounts is valuable. And that's why Raw Nutrition is doing it. Represent does this as well. Like they have their streetwear or their like fashion brand. And then they have 24 Represent 24/7. Mm-hmm. Right. And Represent 24/7 is like the athleisure side. It's the athletic side versus the other Represent, the main account is tailored towards just like the high end fashion. They sprinkle in 24/7, but it's like they built the fan base centered around streetwear. Don't dilute it. Don't change it. Don't like navigate into new waters when you could just essentially have another ship, right? Is the idea here.
Oh,
you like that? Bars. Yeah, that was good. And then the third one is based on your goals. So this, I'll go back to Puresport here. Puresport has four different accounts. 3 really work well. The 4th they should keep going with, but I have an idea to make it better. So they have their main account. This is for content marketing purposes. This is for launching a new product. This is for mass communication, all the branded campaigns. Then you have Puresport clubs. This is to drive and communicate with their community, right? They have a run club, they have a cycle club, they have a fitness club. They have all these different clubs and that link back to their Strava, their WhatsApp, their Discords. But the idea is here is like, this account is for our community and to connect with our community and to create content around the individuals that interact with us on a week to week basis, really.
Damn, bro, you follow all these accounts. Necking these dudes.
Did I?
Yeah.
I fuck with them. I like them a lot.
No.
Then they have Project Puresport. This is like more behind the scenes. It's raw. It's like almost if it was a vlog through photos, right? It's like very just transparent. It brings you behind the brand. It's like for people that really buy in and want, like there's some brands that you're like, I wish I could be there. I wish I could see what they're doing. Yeah. This is for those individuals. Then they have Puresport Archive. And this is a good idea in theory. And it's really just UGC of Puresport.
Oh, that's cool.
But it hasn't really popped off. And I feel like they saw it like not really popping off and they were like, we're not going to put attention towards it. Now, I think this is how you fix it. You encourage people to post UGC for a free supplement with their next order or with a discount code, right? And it's very manual. But the idea is that they collab with Puresport Archive versus you taking their content and then reposting it. Yeah. Because usually, most of the times, the repost won't work, right? And it's not going to gain traction. But if you encourage them to collab, like invite collab with Puresport Archive, then it's a different then it's a different conversation.
I think that's a really cool idea because a lot of brands are always trying to solve for this problem of how do I incentivize my customers to become ambassadors? 100%. And I mean, for sure, if you were able to like promise Puresport people, they're diehard fans of the brand, if you could collab with them on the post. Yeah. It's really interesting. That could be cool.
And then, and I mean, think about it from this lens too. How much would you pay for a really good UGC piece of content?
I mean, people pay $500 for that video. So, I mean.
So if you're doing it for the cost of a supplement, that's a dub.
Absolutely.
Or even a 10, 20% discount, that's a dub. And like, if you look at some of the archive videos, they're good. Yeah. Like they're good videos. So like, again, you're getting a good deal
I think you also want to tier it out by a CPM basis. Yeah. So like one thing that I was always enamored with would be compensating people by impressions to incentivize creating a better video. Because something you see a lot with, just a flat, like, hey, get supplement for video, like that is going to just return a lot of, shitty, low quality stuff. 100%. But if you're like, hey, if you can get a supplement for one video and then that's it, it's 1 for 1. But if your video gets over a certain threshold, we'll actually send you X, Y, and Z. Like and then, by the way, this deal continues for people that want to continue to create. Yeah. I think that's another thing that people need to incentivize as well is like, everyone is after subscription revenue. And the reason people pay content partners on a retainer basis is so that they don't have to worry about being ahead of their content game. Yeah. And so if you're just going to incentivize, customers to make one video and then that's it, okay, that's fine. But if you are getting people to continue to do this month after month, now all of a sudden you're accumulating a little army that's posting every month. Yeah. And
I think you could do that by like changing what you give every month. Yeah. Right. Like they also have sick merch. Like you should look at their merch. It looks a lot like Represent. Like I think they even did a collab with Represent.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they just have, it looks like its own streetwear
Their logo's sick.
Dude. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I just made an order right now. Like, wow.
Live on the pod.
That
was probably during my segment, wasn't it?
No, it was right now. When I was talking about the archive, I was just like, dude, I've had this in my cart. I just need to order it. It was a cardiovascular cordyceps. But look, it comes with performance sexy paste socks. $16. Instead, it should have been like, yo, we'll send you free socks if you make a UGC video.
Yeah.
Like that should have been an email. It should have been an SMS, whatever.
Be a cool Shopify app. There's a guy that made a TikTok CPM app back in the day. It was just ass. Like, just couldn't get it done. But like there's certainly like a way to connect performance to content creation. It just hasn't been
100%.
done effectively.
The last one, and I'll make this one really quick, is if you have a series, like a series that you're pumping out a crazy amount of volume, have your own account for it. So Immi Ramen, have you seen them?
Yeah,
Obviously.
I know what I mean.
So they have the brand account, but then they also have like Immi on the Street on TikTok. Immi on the Street is like 150,000 followers on TikTok. The brand account is like 10. But people know what to expect from the series, that you don't want to dilute the brand by.
So it's actually Ramen on the Street.
Ramen on the Street, sorry.
Which I do think is an important distinction, because one of the best ways for brands to create content is to create content that is adjacent to your product.
Yeah.
Like this, Immi Ramen obviously is their name, but like Ramen on the Street sets just a completely different expectation versus like you created a concept, you created a series inside of your brand versus just hoping people, respect the brand.
100%. So this is where I think it's like if I was at the Collective again, right? And we did Cold Hard Truth 3 to 4 times a week. It's better to have Collective Cold Hard Truth or like some other account it works in congruency with the main account, but it's not diluting the main account where like all of our content is just Cold Hard Truth. Because then the people that don't care about that shit don't want to consume the rest of the content, and they're going to scroll past anytime they see your profile photo, right? Mm-hmm. So by creating that second account, you bypass that problem and you have like a solution where I love Ramen on the Street. I'm just going to sub to this page, and you're still associated with the brand account. So, again, if you are going to create a brand account or multiple brand accounts, here's why you do it. So first is specific customers want specific content. If I'm a runner, I don't want to see a ton of ski content on my feed. 2, algorithms work off of data. So every post is input telling the algo more about you, more about what kind of content you create and who needs to see it. So by posting all over the place, you really confuse the algo and you don't get the right content in front of the right people. And then if you have different accounts, or if you have the third one is if you have different goals, then you create different accounts. If you're trying to target a specific demographic like streetwear, then you make a streetwear account for your brand versus then running and cycling, etc. So
yeah, I think one thing, and we'll leave the audience with this tweet from the CEO of Immi, which I think is just absolutely like amazing, and everyone should think about their media strategy and their content strategy in this way, because I think the challenge that so many people experience is it's hard to get started and you don't feel like you have the right idea right off the bat.
Yeah.
And he said, for the past few months, we've been going viral every few days, and we're constantly surprised who's seen our content. Yeah. Even Lizzo organically duetted with our TikTok recently, but it wasn't always this way. Our media team spent 9 months experimenting across dozens of video concepts with little to no engagement before iterating into any kind of success. So he is the CEO, gave his content team, hey, go fuck up for 9 months and I'm not going to hold your feet to the fire. And he said, people think creativity comes from a flash in the night. We've had our fair share of luck at Immi, but we like repeatability. Mm-hmm. So we created constraints, a writer's room inspired by daily shows in South Park, creative backlogs and sprints, minimal budget, daily experiment requirements, and more. If there's one
thing
we've
send them to me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were down there.
If there's one thing we've learned building Immi, it's that there's no such thing as a silver bullet solution. Success takes a willingness to experiment, learn, and iterate, and you learn to find joy in that process. First of all,
end it there.
Bars.
Yeah.
And then second of all, you see it on their content, dude. Like they iterated so slightly. Like they started with their social media manager in an Immi Ramen costume, and she was actually on the frame interviewing, got like 1,000 views. That was it. And then all of a sudden, you start to see the views pick up when they start taking her out of the equation, and they're actually just zoomed in on the subject and she's not in it. There's no brand play in it. So interesting nugget there. It's like they took the brand out of it and it was just Ramen on the Street. And now it's kind of like more of a Humans of New York feel. And, the results speak for themselves. They got 10 million likes in the last 6 months.
Dibs on making the thread about this, because I know it's already cooking up in your mind. I got dibs.
Damn. Yeah, you're right.
In my segment, baby.
No, you're right. You're right.
You know?
I met Kevin one time. He was a Spellbound customer. He's a really great dude. He's a really impressive founder.
Seems like it. I mean,
he's got some dope
right now.
Husband content too, where he encourages men to be better husbands. I fuck with him.
Why are you looking at me so deep in the eyes when you say something like that?
I'm just saying, bro. You're talking about your daughter getting you sick. Whose fault is that?
Not mine. I was perfectly fine. What you mean, bro? It was not my fault.
All
I'm just
right,
kidding.
let's wrap it up.
So if you enjoy this, please just like and comment. We spend an immense amount of time researching and putting this together so that we have good content to give you. And then this isn't a lie. This is a good update on Sweat Equity hats. They're in production. I bought new colorways, a bunch of new hats. They're in production. I just totally forgot for like a whole month that I had to do these, and they've just been sitting at the crib, mixed in with Zara's like birthday gifts. So I totally just thought it was another box. It was all the hats. So they're in production. They're in the works. And if you want one, leave a review. And I'm going to send, I think it was 20 of them to people that have left reviews. I think we still have like 5 kind of left in the window. If you want to be one of the 5 that leaves a review, it means a lot. But you can find me at @AlexGarcia_ATX anywhere that you really go on social. And then B, where you at?
Yeah, at Brian_Bloom1. And on other channels, there's no one. It's a point of contention. But yeah, I mean, the reviews help us so much. And we've actually gotten some handwritten notes recently from listeners talking about how much this podcast has made an impact on their business. So if that is you, please send it over. If you have a CPG brand, next week we're doing a How We'd Grow on one of our listeners' caffeine energy bars, Super Vibe. Great branding. I think it's got a lot of potential in retail, and going against some different headwinds right now that are happening with coffee and consumption and all sorts of stuff. So we love hearing about the brands that y'all are working on. And so if there's anything that we can ever do to help, just shoot us a message and we'll try and give y'all some free game off the air. And then, I mean, shit, if you send a physical product, we got to put it on the pod. So
100%. Derek's a G too.
Yeah.
This is, I really dig this.
Great dude.
I'm excited to do a segment on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's because I don't want to say it's because he sent his product. It's not because of that. He's left reviews. He comments. He hits us up, and it's like,
just
dude,
genuine interaction.
Yeah, like it's literally just creating a friendship with another founder to the point where it's like, yeah, I know you're trying to grow something. Like, let us just tell you what we would do if we were in your shoes, if we were building it, right?
Yeah.
So help you do that. All right.
That sounds like you. Shoot us a little product, and we'll feature it next time.
Peace.
Peace.